The Living End join us backstage here at Bluesfest. Correct me if I'm wrong, this is your first time playing Bluesfest?
Yes, that's correct. I read earlier that it's taken 25 years for The Living End to play Bluesfest, which is weird because we've only been together for 15. No, but it is. It's the first time I've been to Bluesfest, and it's the first time that we're playing, so I couldn't be more excited, Sam.
Straight to the top, Chris. Scott, you
Absolutely.
used to live in the area. Was Bluesfest a place that you come as a punter?
Definitely.
Yeah.
It was definitely a highlight on the musical calendar.
So what's it like for you? I know you don't live here anymore, but having seen what the locals have gone through in the last few weeks and knowing this festival's return after 2 tough years of pandemic and then threatening that possibly it wouldn't go ahead because of the floods, what's it like for you to be here in this space, knowing what it means to the locals?
Yeah, it's always great to come back to this region because it's, I had such a wonderful time living here. But yeah, it was pretty heartbreaking seeing what people were going through, especially in Lismore and out in the hills and stuff. And I used to live up in South Golden Beach, and some friends and stuff lost their houses and stuff up there as well. So it was devastating. So it's been really amazing to see the community spirit up here, which doesn't surprise me at all. But I heard some unreal stories about the community centre in Mullum and how that was all set up and how well organised it was and how much it actually helped, and it was incredible.
Yeah. You can feel the spirit in the crowd tonight as people are wandering around. There's a lot of locals, obviously people, working the stalls and stuff. Everyone seems to be having a good time. When The Living End hit the stage, it is always a good time. Do you do anything different for Bluesfest, Andy? Do you approach it in any kind of different way?
I think we're more nervous about it. We've been doing the odd show since COVID allowed us, but this one's certainly the one with the most nervy kind of feeling for us, I think. Because it's such a beautiful venue, and that tent, it's you just want to play the best gig that you possibly can. So we're pretty pumped for the experience.
And the time off in between, I guess, since you guys have been making records and touring extensively. Chris, you've been working on solo material. We've been playing it on Double J. Scott, you've been making Mandala Art, which I've been seeing online. You've been busy making meditation art. What is Mandala Art? Can you explain what it is?
Well, they're these drawings that I do. They started off, they are like mandalas, but they're not like mandalas. People make a grid and then they draw, the petals and whatever. And there's all sorts of references to Carl Jung and obviously India and things like this with mandalas. But mine, I just draw them. I start off with a circle in the middle of the page. I don't map it out or anything. And I draw little pictures and stuff in them. It's basically just a really OCD version of doodling. And it got to a point where I would be drawing them this big. They would take hundreds of hours. I would always have one sitting on a drawing board and just keep going back to it. And yeah, it became quite the obsession. So I thought, why not share it with people?
How different is that to what you're doing on stage? That kind of energy, that focus of just being lost in that compared to being lost in the art of performance and the abandon of performance?
It's a good question, but it's the exact opposite because it's so calming and relaxing. But what I found was, and you mentioned meditation, and you see these things and they kind of look, they look kind of a bit hippie-ish. And you would expect me to be listening to, some sort of world music or meditation music.
Deep forest.
Yeah, definitely some chimes.
Yeah.
But what I found myself listening to when I set up really good studio monitors in the room that I was drawing it in was that I was far more interested in listening to the heaviest stuff that I'd ever been into. Things like System of a Down and Iron Maiden and records. Just those records were the ones that were like the funnest to listen to get me into that really calm state.
Yeah.
I felt like a metalhead for a while.
Love it. Well, you can see that metal goodness in the art. It's beautiful. It's dark. It is very much black and white.
It is.
Very metal colours. My question to you, Andy, is what's your side hustle? What have you been doing in the downtime while these guys have been creating other forms of art?
I started making rings.
Wow.
Like to go on your fingers. And
Just for anybody playing on at home, Andy just flipped me the bird. Showed the
yeah. Sorry about that. But no, I started doing that, and then I just couldn't be bothered, sort of, because I didn't want to have the Instagram page or the Facebook or anything like that. So I've just I've got a whole heap of them at home, but I made them either out of like one piece of red gum wood, or the really exciting one was making them out of old drumsticks. So I would, with a plane, I would shave strips and then I would glue them like a, what do you call it? Ply, and then take them off and shape them. So, and then stain them and do all that sort of stuff. So that was my little thing.
And every one of your little side projects obviously has a huge tie to music, something you can never escape.
Well, yeah, and that almost brings us to the end of our hourly Living End craft session.
Crafting with the Living End.
What are you doing on a rainy day?
Yeah.
It is Bluesfest after all. You've got to have a crafting in a
This is the spot
Bluesfest.
for it. You should get a tent, little tent on the main street.
We could, yeah,
stall.
hold little craft sessions.
Yeah.
You're going to be hitting the stage very soon. What is it that you most look forward to as you get up there? What is it about all these years later, the essence of the Living End when the three of you get up on stage and perform live?
Well, you know, thinking about what Andy was saying before about the nerves and all that sort of stuff, for me it's half nerves, but it's really a celebration at this point. The fact that we're here on the third time round is amazing. And you can't let the nerves sort of overtake the idea that this is a celebration, and it's that connecting with the audience. That's what you want from a show. And you don't know whether you can get up there and play a really good gig, but not necessarily have that connection. But that's what I'm hoping happens tonight. I mean, those are the best gigs for us, when there's just full kind of lift off and the crowd is almost louder than the PA. So that's what I'm expecting from the good people in Byron this evening.
All right, you've laid
I
down
won't
the
accept
gauntlet.
anything less.
I will be there, pogoing up the front. Cannot wait to see the Living End live. Thanks so much for joining us backstage at Bluesfest, guys.